Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
So we did this one yesterday. This was a Patreon exclusive. It was a fairly substantial video, lots of information. It was a message from the guides and also remote viewing the Earth changes and the ultimate liberation of the planet from the system that we're under. It is going to be a process, and as the guides have said, even though we're changing ages, we're saying bye-bye Kali Yuga, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be an easy, smooth sail.
And that's for sure.
Yes, absolutely. So we want to thank everybody that is supporting us over on Patreon. It's awesome. We're grateful for you guys. And there has been a lot of solar activity. So what are we looking at? Well, look at the flares here. Just look at all these peaks. As you can see, in reality, we've had 4 that are right at X or just a hair below, and a lot of others. It's definitely causing some people to feel exhausted. Others might feel wired. Others like it's a roller coaster. Here we are. This is Happy Cinco de Mayo, by the way, 5th of May. We're heading into some very curious times, and we have a lot of activity going on the sun. 1.2 X class, also an X 1.3. Right before that, then we had a 9.1 M class, and then we also had an X 1.6 on the 3rd, and other M classes as well. Very, very interesting to say the least. All this is definitely affecting our consciousness. It's affecting the changes within our bodies, and it will also more than likely affect the Earth where it comes to the weather and volcanic activity, and yes, also earthquakes.
Right. So when I was feeling this, as everything is coming in, I was feeling a ton of resistance between the throat chakra and the heart chakra, and it felt like this dragnet of energy. So I feel that what we resist persists in life. And these solar flares are going to bring up, a lot of resistance for people. It could show up in various ways, things that you don't want to face, things that you don't want to look at, things you don't want to admit, but they're not going to go away until you give them some kind of recognition. That's the life we live in. It's an expansion. We're living in an expanded world. And we're called to grow bigger. We're called to grow over, up, and above things. So if you have these things going on in your life that are very, very ugly and you don't want to look at them, it might actually be the easier route to sit down and write them out and look at them, try to process them, talk with a friend, talk with others, see if there's something you can do to help with this resistance that might be coming up in your life. But gosh, I felt it, and it was really strong, like a big tug of war between the heart and the throat chakra.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been some curious quakes, a lot of curious quakes. When did we have 160 quakes in a month in this area? Basically New England on down to Richmond, D.C. area. Most of it, yes, is this swarm right here. 148 of those are right here in New Jersey, of all places. 148 quakes in New Jersey in a month. That's odd. And then we also have, these quakes up in Maine. You see some quakes in New York State, Cleveland, over here in Walbridge, Ohio. Now, when you look at them, they're all going to be relatively shallow. There's no deep ones anywhere to be seen here. It's just so far out of the usual to see what we're seeing. But then again, these are not usual times, and there is going to be another video right after this where we'll touch on a little bit more touchier subjects. But I wanted to really split them, and I'm almost hesitant to even talk about what we were going to bring up in the other video, just because the last time we even mentioned anything along the lines of what we're touching on, it's like I had to upload the video twice, and then it's like 4 hours later, YouTube still hadn't approved it. They haven't processed it. It was really weird. There's just so much going on. Dozens dead. In fact, 70 people injured. The death toll is officially about 58 right now. This is in Brazil, and this is unprecedented in some words. Some say it's a once in 100-year flood, and others say it's beyond that. What's happened is just what we're getting all over the world, these unprecedented floods at a time when people are waking up to the fact that there's geoengineering going on a massive scale. A lot of people are connecting the dots. A lot of people are waking up maybe for the first time with the plague upon the land and the cure, and understanding how a lot of things are completely manufactured. You have a lot of people working together to help people, which is wonderful. This is what it's going to take. As you can see, just think about all those photos we've seen trying to get across what's happened in mud floods. Look where the water is here, right? And then we've seen so many buildings that are simply buried that deep. How often does this happen? I think I've seen an awful lot of people that are of the opinion this may happen every couple hundred years, maybe 180 years, 160 years. There's massive floods and whole areas abandoned and then rebuilt on, maybe 8 feet higher than they were when things start to kind of dry out. Well, it is curious that you have the Bible talking about the weather and God and judgment and punishment, and here you have flooding in Iran, affects 21 provinces. We had that flooding in Dubai. We've seen Saudi Arabia buried, and we got all these areas that don't usually get a lot of rain absolutely inundated. They do get a good amount of rain in Haiti, but you have landslides and floods ravishing that area as well. Certainly on an island, when you get this massive flooding, that takes the scare factor to a higher level as you look at the waves roaring. Port de Pais, you can see here. I mean, it's just everywhere we look. There's flooding like unimaginable. And at Ruang volcano in Indonesia, now you have 10,000 people permanently relocated from the area. Permanently, not like, okay, gotta go, we'll see when you guys can come back. No, this is permanent, as you have the start of major changes upon the planet. There are going to be major changes, absolutely. There will be new land. We were talking about this in the message from the guides yesterday on the Patreon exclusive. There will be new lands that end up being developed in certain areas as other areas are being washed asunder. Many meteors being seen, or things that they're telling us are meteors, as you see the Great Lakes region. Lots of people over multiple states saw this. It's so fascinating that we see these type of things, and they're consistent. It's always like, give us some thrust, Scotty. We ready for warp drive? Aye, Captain. Okay, let's go to warp, and they're gone.
And there it goes, and it's just, just a fireball. Nothing, absolutely nothing more than that. I think Mike nailed it pretty good there.
Yeah, well, people are starting to realize that all those quote-unquote CONS piracy theories are just simply perceptions that somebody's caught up on and figured out what it really is, and then the control system comes in, tries to tell us otherwise until they got to give up and admit. Like the medical system and full frontal lobotomies, or radium, or it goes on and on and on, and still people are sucking down the fluoride.
No, I saw this meme today that said conspiracy theories are nothing more than spoiler alerts today.
Yes, absolutely. So they say that the hurricane season that is just about upon us now is going to have about double the energy of normal, and 23, 24 named storms. We'll see, because it doesn't seem like they could predict the weather because they don't know where they're going to officially spray and cause floods. And then we have another guy try to break through the security gate at the White House, pronounced dead on the scene. They haven't released really any other information at this point in time. So this seems like this just happened a little while ago. And yet you have more and more strange things spotted on Mars. At least that's what they tell us. Strange rocks spotted on the Martian surface. Well, that looks pretty smooth. Those cuts look a little curiously manufactured. What could that possibly be? Is it some ET brush and the bristles came off? I don't know. A back scratcher? Who knows?
I don't know. It kind of looks like a piece of pottery to me.
Could be simple as a piece of pottery, but you have such extremes. You have people that think we can't escape through the dome. And if you really think we can't escape through the dome, then you must think there's ETs that have us locked down in the dome. What other possible explanation could it be? And then we have things like this at Baalbek. I mean, look at how round and how huge. Again, Brian Forrester's done great work showing us all these amazing items. This is in a mine, 2008 coal mine in the Rostov region. They made a discovery, shocked the scientific world at a depth of 1 kilometer down, corresponding to the age of the rock at 300 million years. They found a wheel embedded in the rock. Who put the wheel there 300 million years ago? Or is it just, it's just an illusion like everything else?
Yeah, I mean, it's not part of a Mercedes or anything.
No, talking about illusions, what the hey? We've seen these type of things out in the desert that are hundreds of feet long, and this appears to be hundreds of feet long too, and it looks very, very reminiscent of a crocodile or an alligator. But, hey, it's probably just an optical illusion, I'm sure.
It's just the human mind trying to make something make sense out of something, and it turns into an alligator for 99% of people.
Or maybe it's the proportion, because it looks like we're looking at something from, way, way up. Maybe it's not way, way up. Maybe it's just a dead alligator, and, those really aren't trees. Those are just shrubs, and they're very small. But the lesson is, again, be aware that things that we're told, they don't have to be the way the system says it is, and yet not everything is, not everything. Well, actually, I can't think of any conspiracy theories that are not really actually accurate when you think about it.
No, me neither.
But do share. We are heading into challenging times. Do realize there's going to be an awful lot of people in need in the times ahead. It is really challenging what's coming. We can feel it. You could sense it. We're deciphering the messages from the guides about it. Again, operate with compassion and love and understanding that so many of the masses are really, really clueless. And then on the next video, we'll be a little bit harsher, I guess, would be the word with what is going on in another spectrum.
Be safe, source bless, and namaste.
Namaste.